Afternoon, everybody. My name is Tracey Larin. I'm the founder and CEO of Curiosity Knox Incorporated. Hope everybody's doing well this afternoon. This, as you all know, this podcast platform is to teach the world basically crisis management competencies. And today we have a very, very special guest. Sorry, I have a bit of a giggles, but my guest, Christine Leanne Fair, say that
You
right?
got it.
Oh, thank you. Is here to join us for a short period, but a fantastic period of knowledge sharing. And that right now, as we all know, the world is in a massive mental health pandemic, and I had a hard time with that because I've been a crisis manager for 2 decades now, and personally, I didn't really understand why it's so bad right now. I understand the COVID situation, but I'm also from a time where we struggled a lot more, and we learned a lot more advanced survival skills young. So it's affected me seeing other people suffer, but personally, I just kind of remain the same. But one person, all in the light, is Christine here. Always stays in the light and always keeps everything very forward thinking. And I've been basically following you on Facebook for several years and watching you and your two beautiful sons grow. And as you know, I'm a single mom myself with two sons, and watching you we go and shed your light and your love and your compassion with your children, as well as I know you serve in the community, other children. It's just really lightened my life, and it's just so good to see you just stay true to who you are and your authentic self, and just always remain the incredible human being that you are. And no matter what happens in the world, like I just see you, just you keep going, you keep going through your storm, you keep getting out of your pit, and you're just boom 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 climbing and forward thinking. And I really like to introduce you to everyone on our platform here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tracey, for having me. It's actually an honor. As you were mentioning, you were following me. I was actually following you as well, and like watching you grow and seeing what you're doing and the impacts you're making in the world, right? And
Thank you.
like as you
Thank
talk that
you.
you work in crisis work and whatnot, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, and I was thinking about this podcast before I came on that you work in that
Mm,
world, and I work more like I did crisis work for a little while, but we're more
yeah.
in the proactive state. And I think
Right.
that in both worlds, in the forward thinking and crisis world, like there's
Yeah.
such a huge need for it. Like mental health was a crisis before COVID, right? Like there was
Oh,
alarms going
absolutely.
off. Now it's trying to like take the world and like all the crisis happening and heal and get the tools and the supports out to help and support people so we could get to the next stage and help generations to come and be more positive and healthy and grow, right?
Yeah, it's funny you're saying that because I'm doing a lot of research. I'm working internationally right now in different programs, and it's funny you say I don't see a lot of programs that cross that bridge. Like even the educational system, I'm working with a lady who's kind of like an educator of educators out in the States, and they don't seem to blend like crisis management, kind of like preventative and interventive programs with like leadership programs with kids, and that it's almost like they're not really realizing that upon that group of people joining, that there might be a few that are taught not to have a voice. There might be a few that are
Sure.
taught like that the authorities are bad and you're not to listen to bad. So I find even out west, my sister is wanting to build teachers colleges, and I'm hoping to be a silent partner in the future of that. And one thing I want to implement is making sure that these teachers understand that there are interventions that we can do, and implement screening tools and preventive measures to make sure that these programs are a little bit more blended, so you're getting kind of the bigger picture about what's happening in the world and how to keep yourself safe in it, and how to learn to have some survival and advanced life skills, right? So it's
Oh,
it's incredible.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel really strong about that. Like we talk about that and like we look at what's being taught and
Mhm.
like in my mind and like my personal experience, like anybody can say different, that's fine. But youth and people are just not taught the survival skills and have the strategies to be able to overcome obstacles in their lives, right? Like we go to school, we learn certain things, but we're not taught about emotions. We're not taught like mental
That's
health has
right.
come a long way. Don't get me wrong. There's some
That's
things
right.
taught, but like
Yeah.
how do you like get through like a big obstacle and your emotions are high and your brain's shutting down? Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
We don't have those tools to get through those. So that's what's happening, right? And then they grow up and then they're
Yeah.
an adult and now they're in like complete adversity and they don't have those skills, right? And
Mm.
now we throw on like COVID and all the things that have happened in the few years. So we're looking at
Mhm.
like a mass culture of PTSD and trauma, and people are suffering, right? So if we put the tools proactively, then when they
Mm,
come to those, you know what, they might struggle for sure, but they're going to
mm.
be more likely to get through it. And we could maybe prevent things like addiction, domestic violence, and suicide, and actually save lives with those tools, right?
Absolutely, and the thing is that it's not just like people in the community that are seeing it, but like I believe that governments in different countries see it as well. I mean, they have stats, they run the numbers, and they see like the stats in suicide, they see the stats in everything. And the biggest thing that's missing is the self-esteem that goes with, okay, like, okay, now we implement, right? We implement these things and they're like, oh, okay, so I do this of that and that, but where's the self-esteem, the urge to go? And a lot of people don't understand crisis management because they think, well, what are we teaching? Like we're going to scare people. No, no, no. If people understand what they're supposed to do during crisis, or understand that these behaviors or these type of psychological aspects or the norm for someone who's feeling a certain way, because you can go online and Google all you want. I mean, geez, I get a headache and go online and you can find, I can go from having a headache to, oh my God, I'm dying in 24 hours, right? So there's
Yeah.
nothing like, yeah, I'm not finding anything. And that's why myself and my team are like, we got to do something. We got to make a difference here. So we started writing programs teaching kids like how to avoid being pulled into gangs, and how to learn how to, when they're being preyed on, the signs, and how to learn what toxic people are. And it seems like we're teaching negative, but we're not. We're teaching the reality of the world.
Oh,
So I take
absolutely.
that kid and throw him out of society, throw him in a different country. Well, that's when the animals come out. And there really are people that are just a breed of animals that are detached, disconnected. They're able to do very inhumane things and not even think about it. It's a business transaction. It's a wash my hands. They do not care. And sometimes it often happens from their upbringing. One thing I really, really love about you and watching about you is how you build and put together these things that really help kids. You're trying to catch them while they're young, sometimes too young, like primary age I don't deal with because their brains just aren't developed. But that little window before they go to college or they're thrown out in society, or even a year or two before, like that age, that it's just, when I see your pictures and your events and see the things you're doing, like it really captures my heart, because that's where my philanthropy comes from. So
Yeah.
when I get some money, that's where I don't charge kids, right? I mean, I write programs and sell programs to teach parents how to have my help program. So help every last parent, to teach parents how to get their kids out of trauma and that. But like, I don't, I'm not on the street selling programs to kids, right?
Well, how
So
old are the kids in your programs that you're running? Like, what is the age group that your programs are supporting?
So I used to do like 12 and up, but I
Yeah.
stopped doing that because I was touring around all across Ontario and like detention centers and schools and churches and doing underground, like kind of, I would get them in groups, the most troubled kids, and I'd give advice and I'd put together a little course for them, and they're getting it. And what I realize is that these kids that are people think they're damaged, are actually brilliant, because now they have both sides. They know what bad people can be. So they
Yeah,
also like they build their boundaries a little bit quicker, and they understand the world a little bit more, that there's good and evil, and
totally.
that, yeah, there is, and that they have to be very careful, because I'm sure they watch their family members like put on this facade of, oh, I'm a good person in society, then come home and beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Like it's just, so it's awareness. It's awareness. If we don't create the awareness, then nobody can make change, and we can't. And that's what I love about you, is that, like, no matter what's happening, like over the years, like doesn't matter, COVID, anything happen, like, you're always trying to help, you're always giving, you're always creating things for youth, like you're always working in your society and that, which I'll let you talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that as well. But you're just, you look, and one day you're out in the forest with your kids, and your kids are just looking at you in love, like you just look healthy and happy. And I admire that, because it's hard. Entrepreneur world's hard. Like it's sleepless, sometimes non-financially rewarding, and then boom, it hits, right? So
Yeah.
it's
And I
not
think
easy.
no, it's not easy. And when you think of entrepreneurial, I think that when you come from a place of passion, it makes those hard
Yeah,
times and those like down moments like easier
yeah,
to get through. And just like we were talking
yeah,
about earlier, the mindset, right? Like the
right,
second you stop believing in your head is actually when you are done, right? Like once the belief is gone,
oh
like you're not going
yeah,
any further. And I think it's
yeah,
something really huge that we work with the kids about, because like we build self-esteem, we build confidence in the program.
mhm,
Like the main program we run is broken down into 12 different parts, right? It's a
right,
12-week program and we go through
right,
12 different principles. And in each of
Right.
those principles, we're learning different tools on like how we could become
That's
mentally stronger, right?
that's what
So
I
we
do,
go
but in
from,
a little bit different way. 12
it is like,
modules. No, I
yeah,
do.
so
I
like
do
yours
12
isn't
weeks
like
of
the crisis.
modules, 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And like,
Yeah.
so we go through them, and it's not just about becoming mentally stronger, it's actually about becoming a leader and like how they
That's
can
right.
improve their life and become
Self
stronger,
leadership, right? Yeah.
healthy, right? So we're
Yeah.
learning relationships, communication, boundaries,
Yeah.
belief systems, right? Like,
Right.
even though they're younger, like with these tools, I really believe that as they grow, and they're not going to remember all of them from this like short program, right? So then we incorporate it like bi-weekly meets where we get
Mm-hmm.
together, we do like an activity, and then we go over some different tools just to keep that learning process going, to
Yeah.
remind
To
them,
reinforce it, keep
reinforcing,
it to
right?
stick.
Because it takes
Yeah.
what, 21 days to change a habit. Well, you know what? We have all these different children coming from different homes,
Mm.
and we're learning tools, and they're using each other as a peer support group, right?
That's amazing. Yeah. They can really learn from each other. And the thing is that
They
it's all about
do.
community. So I run a program in Africa and I have a community there and I've taught them like it's all about community. Like you have to be able to trust each other and stay in small groups. And and really like self leadership is so important right now. And we've got to start it young. And I have a lot of friends around me that run businesses that are really trying to hit the schools and get those leadership programs in young so that they
Yeah.
understand that they can start because it's not about being bossy and mean. And a lot of them think that, a boss has to be mean, a boss is bossy, but it's actually not. It's like you're saying, it comes from the root of love and compassion and being genuine and being kind to each other and helping each other out. That's what wins. I mean, it's
Oh, it
all over
is.
videos everywhere. I mean, you see these little communities come together. So a dog's in trouble, and then 15 of them run over, and boom, boom, boom. They all get a like it. It takes more than just one person,
Oh, it
right?
does take more than one person. I find that like with myself and my programs and my coaching and all my work, like I'm really big on compassion and like meeting people where
Yeah.
they're at. But the other side of me is I'm really big on accountability and personal responsibility.
Yes.
And the choices we make are actually what dictates our life, right?
That's right.
So we like, things are happening, and it's important to break those down and find where our responsibility is in the things that are
That's right.
happening in our life at
Mhm,
any age, right? And I think
mhm,
like even with my kids, like, and we've been doing it a lot, quite a while now. I'm like, okay, a fight happens, whatnot. Well, okay, they're screaming, this is this fault, their fault. I'm like, well, whose responsibility is it, right? Like, who
right,
did this? That's your responsibility. And
that's
then
right.
that we have our emotions. I'm like, okay, well, what are the emotions? Like, you feel this
Mhm.
way, why? Okay, so let's deal with those. Let's talk those out, because without knowing where your emotions are, that's going to base our behaviors and our thoughts, right?
Well, listen, especially I mean, your kids, they seem pretty intelligent there. I mean, they're awesome, but, you can tell that they're gonna be going into society, and that's how it works. I mean, especially if they go in the corporate world, that's how it works. I mean, they
Yeah,
have they have legal dispositions that tell you when you sign the contract that, "Hey, if something this happens, this is what you do. Bum, 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 bum." And it's all about resolving disputes and stuff like that, but
it
it's
is.
like what I find about with you though is that you're able to take it to a higher level, and you think you don't have much crisis management skills, but you do because you suffered your own crisis within your own personal little bubble, and I have as well. And you can share your own story or not. I mean, that's your own privacy, but I respect that. But the thing is that like I will announce you're a single mom. I'm a single mom. It's not easy. It's hard. It's how do you work to feed the kids? How do you work to get extra money to invest in your company? How do you put in your heart into the community? Because if you don't get it out of you, then you're just sitting stirring, like you're not feeding your purpose. So it's like you're just sitting and stirring. So how do you balance that all? And the one thing about you that I learned today prior to this is that you're a very early riser, like get up early and get that worm. And I have a lot of respect for that. It takes discipline. And one thing I noticed about you is you're consistent. Like everything is, you're just always consistent. And that's what wins. And people think it's magic. Oh, it's magic, or they're gonna make it because they came from money. And me personally, like I'm starting to make it big. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm making it big because I give my love and I give the money away. I'm a
Yeah.
philanthropist. I'm fueled with love. I serve with love. I get paid for love in return, and then I take that love and give it out. We're not all built that way, but I know in my heart that's who you are. And it's like I can really feel that about you. And yeah, we want to make money. We need to make money. We need to build things on the side to align our lives that way. But it takes money to do anything. You want to make a difference in the world, you need money. You want to have your kids to have a better life, you need money. You want to
Yeah.
buy the right things to get your company going to better legacy you and your children's future, you need money. It's all money. And people say even to me, like, I've been single 4.5 years. I don't date. I don't waste my time. I don't party on the weekends. Like, it's a Saturday morning. You're up at 8 a.m. on a podcast. You've already been going for hours. I'm here with you, like, and then I'll be leaving and go working on something at a coffee shop somewhere. I grind. I don't waste my time. I don't go to barbecues. I don't fool around. What I do is I take my laptop and I go into the woods and I write, or I go sit beside some horses and the farmer gets mad at me, but now we have a good deal. Now he understands. I just told him, listen, I'm not a city kid and I'm in the city, you
Yeah.
know? Like, so it's to pull away from everybody in society and say, okay, it's okay to have fun, but I'll have fun when I have substantial enough income where I can say, hey, I'm going to, feed this village here. I'm going to take care of this here. I'm going to give $1 million here. And then, you know what? I'm going to pick up me and my family. We're going to go to Ireland and sit in a castle for a week. Like,
Yeah.
that's just the kind of person I am. And you have to work. Like, you have to work. So I have a lot of respect and admiration for you and how you keep going and how you just keep pushing and through the storm and through the fire and out of your pit. And you just keep going, going, going. Like, my heart really, really goes out to you.
Well, I think that like, and thank you so much for sharing
No,
that.
I
And
mean it.
I think like what we were talking about before about my morning
Mhm.
wake up, like I
Yeah.
do wake up before 4 every day. Like 4 is like
It's
the
not,
time. And I know most people
listen,
think
man,
I'm
they
crazy.
say to do it, but it's not the same when you try. I've tried for, no.
Yeah, well, it
Yeah.
takes time, right? Like, and I look back,
Yeah.
like when it all started, it was like I was waking up as always a morning riser, like 5, 6, and then I started moving it back and back and back. And then
Mm-hmm.
after we had like our complete adversity in 2016, 17,
Nice.
2:33 was the time, right? Because I was like, I need this time. And I set up a
Mm-hmm.
morning routine. And when we think about mental health and talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
I wake up and I have my workout, I have time to meditate, I read, I journal, I listen to podcasts, I listen to something positive in the morning. And without those things in my,
Wow. No
like,
wonder
I'm
why you
not,
always look so healthy. I mean, I thought you were like, what, 10 years younger? Like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, man. Like, no wonder why you have such, because I said to myself, it's like, she's out hiking. Like, holy frick, I've been drained 3 weeks. I'm going, going, going. My company's around the clock right now. Like, I'm tired, and I got my family's not so well. Like, it's a lot, right? And I'm just going,
well, it is,
going. And it's like, but I look
but
at you.
you
I'm like,
keep
gosh,
going,
she looks.
right? But
Yeah,
that's it.
but
Like,
you're
you
in the
keep going
woods with
because
your kids. You're hiking. You got these cute little pigtail little braids. I'm like, oh my god, she looks like she's 15 out hiking in the morning, and I'm like waking up feeling like I'm a foot in the grave. I know, but it's the routine, and you know what? I'm up and down in my routine. I don't shut off my thing at a certain time. Like, if I get an idea, I'll keep writing till 3, and then I want to get up at 4. Like, it's just not going to work. But I'm realizing I work to, I used to own group homes and stuff, and I work shift work, and I just got so used to just being all over the place. But you know what? You're teaching me something today. Maybe all these entrepreneurs that do this stuff, but
it's
I don't know if I
discipline.
can wake up and work out right away. Wow,
You know
I think I
what?
need to have coffee.
You literally just put your shoes beside the your bed and you just
The
like
bed.
you don't even like it's different for me now, right? Because like it's like my
Yeah,
routine. It's like
yeah.
commitment is I just do it. But put your shoes beside your bed, just wake up
Mm,
and go, right? Like you just make the decision, you're like, it's happening. And maybe you get on the treadmill and like obviously if you're tired, you're waking up, you don't want to do
mm.
it. There are some mornings, to be honest, I'll be on the treadmill. I don't want to, but I'm just walking. Like and I'm
Yeah.
walking and then I'm like
You're
half an
moving
hour.
your butt. You're
You
setting
do
your
it, right?
mind for
And
the
then when I'm
day.
done that
Yeah.
half an hour, in my head is like, okay, now it's time to run. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm tired. And I'm like, nope, I'm not tired because I just walked for half an hour. So then I'll run for half an hour, right? It's that
So you do
commitment.
all the stuff that my military father, he just retired from national defense. He was in the military, he was younger, but he's always telling me, like, you got to do this. And it's not about wanting it. No, no, no. It's like that. It was up to 4 o'clock. I don't care. You need a better routine. It's healthier for you. And blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to take some of your advice, and anybody out there listening too, as well, like for mental health, like it really is. I mean, I've done a lot of research, and I know in crisis management with the schooling and that the brain does like knowing a certain time every day it's going to eat, kind of thing, a certain time every day it's going to exercise and go to
Yeah.
sleep. And sometimes with mental health, like we can get really overwhelmed because our mind is so powerful, and we get really overwhelmed with, oh, I didn't do this. Oh, what if people wonder, like, they got chest pain, that, and they go to the hospital and they find out, oh no, you're just having an anxiety attack. They're overwhelming themselves. But
Yeah.
like you said, if you just break it down to daily disciplines and give yourself a break once in a while to enjoy life, and you
Oh,
try
for
and put
sure.
a
You
little
have to
bit of
have
fun in.
grace, right? Like
Yeah.
give yourself grace because like we're all human, right? Like have those
Yeah.
days where like, you know what, sometimes like you just need to shut it down. Like part
Mm,
of my routine is at least once a week, single mom, my workload is pretty
mm,
heavy, like balancing everything. Like I'll go away for like one day, like even if it's half a
Yeah.
day to the bush. Hiking is something for me by
Yeah.
myself, and I meditate and I process everything, right? Because I think without processing
I'm
and
proud of you. Oh, that's good.
dealing with
It's
those
good for you. And it's
emotions,
great
right? Like,
advice to anybody because it doesn't cost anything to, well, a little bit of gas, but to drive down to find a
yeah.
little woods area. I mean, you don't want to be too by yourself, but you know, like,
Well, it's just being mindful, right? Like when you're in
yeah,
nature, it's like
yeah,
here, right? Like so you could be able
yeah,
to decompress, right? Like mine is the mountains, mine's nature, mine's water. It could be
that's
different
right.
for everybody, but when we're
Hmm.
in nature, it's natural energy, right? Like it's the purest form. So we're you're
Yeah.
out there and you could just breathe, release, and take that time to process with no
Mhm.
distractions around you, right?
I had a friend of mine who used to walk. They lived in the west end of the city where I am, and there was a place in the woods where there used to be like these bridges, and I'd go with her, and she'd say she'd swear right before she was starting to pass away. She had nine different kinds of cancer, but you know, they told her she had two weeks to live, and she lived another 7 years pain free until the last 3 months. So bless her. But anyways,
Yeah.
she would say that she would literally like as she got closer to passing away, she would be closer to God. She said within herself and connect with the universe more, and she would see these little like strings of like champagne looking little luminous lighting straying from the trees, and it would be like a light then kind of, you know, it's all like transparent, you see these little lights, and I obviously couldn't see them, but I always feel different when I'm in nature and that. And then I started researching heavily after she passed away, and like even Will Smith did a whole series on how that's real. It's just that you're if you're it depends on how deep you are within yourself and what you tapped into, but people can actually see that. And then there's always that, you know, the old story of the science project with water when they put water in two different glasses, and the one water they just tell off and they're angry to, and they freeze it and it comes out and it has like there's no like beautiful little shapes or anything, and then the other glass of water they just love and love on and say all nice words, and they freeze and it comes out all these beautiful little like, you know, like snowflake looking, like just beautiful designs. So, you know, we are made up of 85% water, apparently, you know. So, and it's like you said, it's to keep healthy in that. And when you reset your mind, like I go in the forest by myself too, and people are like, you know, why do you do that? You shouldn't get nervous. Well, you know what? The chances of someone, I don't go in the natural trail. I pull off the side of the road. Some chance of
Right.
someone figuring out who I am or catch me or whatever, come at me all you want. You know, if that, you know, the chances of it happening, the percentage, right? So it's just like I'll go just be, but I have to take my shoes off. I have to feel the ground, like, and I
Be
just kind of
grounded.
reset it.
You're grounding
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. Because I don't know about you, but in my company, when you're dealing with mental health and that, and you're just dealing with just trying to help make a difference, and you know, teach people and that, like you have to kind of go through the trenches with them, so you soak it
You
in. Like
do.
you're very empathic, eh? You
Oh,
so you
absolutely.
soak it in. So sometimes you just need to go reset and just like kind of I feel like they it latches to me. Like I almost like take their feelings with me. Like I've
Yeah.
always had that since I was young. So it's just to go out and just reset and just kind of more pray over them and let it go.
A good
Yeah.
friend of mine, we were just out at his place a couple months ago, and well, maybe like 2 months ago, but he was
Mm.
walking in the dirt and stuff and just talking about being grounded and like teaching my kids about being
Yeah.
grounded. So now my kids walk more in the grass and the dirt with no shoes
Hmm.
and no socks and just grounding themselves. And like I do it a lot more now too, but it's
Yeah,
just a
I just
concept of
started. I just started. I got the urge one day and I just
yeah,
started and just something about it. And then I found stuff online that actually says there really is something about it. But you know, I'm old school. I don't think to go online and look there and thing. I just like pull over and something says, take off your shoes, connect with the universe. Like it's like a whisper in my ear, and I just
well, it's like
follow
the
along.
vibration, right? Like when you think of frequency, right?
Yeah.
Like everything's vibrating, there's energy in everything, right? And like
Yeah.
when we connect our bodies to like a natural frequency,
Yeah.
again, we talk about mental health, we could like bring ourselves back and like be
Yeah.
more mindful and like decompress and work through those
Mhm.
things that we need to work through on a natural energy and a natural vibration, right?
See, and because you're able to do that, Christine, it's like it really helps the people that you deal with. It really helps everything in some of your programs and some of your things that you really put your heart and your soul into because
Yeah.
it's, you know, you really understand what it takes to stay healthy and stay strong, and especially during hard times. Like your perseverance is incredible. Like I just really
Yeah.
admire you for that. And
Thank you.
you know, I'm sure your kids know that and your family knows that, but like I'm kind of like a stranger in a way. But you know, as a person that's, you know, trained to observe behavior and trained to observe behavior within children, especially, like I really have a lot of respect for how you're just able to kind of give and do it all. Because you know
Yeah.
what? I help people figure out their purpose and like realign themselves or redirect their lives. Cause like you said, it's about choices. So all of my premise and all the our programs you write for youth or any type of entrepreneur, anything we do is all challenge, choice, and change. I focus on those three things. So you're looking at your challenges, like what's in front of you, what's upsetting you, what's out of control. There could be 10, 15, 20 elements of different things all around. Let's take a look at that. Let's see the picture of
Mm.
that. And then like what are your choices in each situation? You're going to stay stagnant, you're going to left, right. What are you doing? What are you doing to realign your life map? Like what's going on here? And then basically like your changes. Like if you don't, the thing is that what I like about you is your ability to put people's like what they need in programming to paper and capture that, because people have a really hard time understanding, okay, I want to get out of this. Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to get out of my pit. I want to do better, but how do I do it? And what I like about you is the ability to write and then also go through the transition of implementing, like actually bringing these programs to fruit and letting people learn from them and grow from them,
Well, I
and
think that the programs, like when you talk about my kids and whatnot, like they all come to fruition from like a place of my adversity, right? And I think that that's why a lot of the kids relate to me because like there's no lies. Like I'm so open and honest about like
I
how it
know it's the best thing
started,
about
right? Like
you. You're just
and like
transparent.
there's
Yeah.
no humility, right? Like it's
Yeah.
um
Because you
like
know what?
really
You've been there. You're a survivor. You've been
well,
there.
I'm a survivor, right? And I
We
feel
could
really
talk about
strong.
anybody's issues for 10 hours here, but you are through thick and thin in all areas of your life, an absolute survivor. You absolutely felt in a pit and got yourself out. And that
Yes.
is what drives people to follow you. I'm telling you,
Well,
you
and that's
feel it
because
in your
it's not
soul.
giving up, right?
Yeah.
Like when we talk about mindset and like just like when you were sharing about your friend who just passed, and I'm sorry to hear
Yeah.
about that.
Well, it's
A
been a
lot
few
of
years, but yeah.
like the mindset and like waking up in the morning and all of the things that I've persevered through and worked through with
Mm.
resilience, I think about that. Like we're
That's
all gonna
incredible.
die, right? Like I'm gonna die
That's
at
what I was
50.
saying last night to someone. We're
And
all
then
going to
like so
die.
we only have this short time to live, right? And
Yeah.
I have a purpose, you have a purpose, and I refuse to let the things happen in my life
Yeah.
stop me from what I'm doing because I feel really strong about my purpose.
And
I
there's,
love what I
yeah.
do.
And
And
there's
I wake
no
up
there's no
every
book that
day.
tells you what your purpose is,
No,
right?
no,
You
it's a
develop that
choice.
through the storm, through
Like
the
we do.
fire. Yeah.
Like we all go through hard times, and every
Yeah.
moment we have a choice to either push through and find a way, find the value.
That's
Because
right.
I feel strong. There's value in everything. There's
There
no good
is. Yeah.
situations or bad situations in life. There's
That's right.
character building. We grow and we
Oh yeah.
learn, and then,
Hmm.
or we sit back and let the world just push us down and carry a burden backpack and keep throwing the shit we go through on our backs.
And
So we
that's the
can't.
natural rhythm, because how many people like they get rid of a bad man or a bad woman and then the next person appears the same way in a different body. It's like if you don't stop those habits, you don't stop those
We
same
don't.
things
We
over and
don't.
over,
It
you're gonna
happens.
do the
You have to
same shit
change.
till you're dead.
Well, no, like exactly. Like
You
if you're
know?
unhappy with your life, change it. If you're
Yeah,
unhappy with your relationship, change you first. Otherwise, you're going to show up to the next one,
that's
right?
right. We're
And that's our
magnets.
natural
Yeah.
habits, right?
Yeah.
Change it and then move on and learn different tools to get past it. And it's the
That's
same
right.
thing I tell all the kids. And I know we were sharing a little bit before, like the
Hmm.
society. So I run the Mental Wellness Society. And then
Yes.
I also run an organization called the Inspire Build Grow Academy. And that's
Yes.
where we run our empowerment programs. The
Yeah.
society, we do a lot of work with, they combine each other, but the program is based to help support kids. We work with adults too, and
Hmm.
we leverage the 12 different principles from like self care to mindset to beliefs to boundaries, relationships,
That's right.
communications. And
Good
then we
job.
watch these kids come together and learn them. And then in their peer support and community, they help each other grow, right? Because now we have kids coming from all these different worlds and they all have their different struggles, right? And they're
Yeah.
there to support each other, love each other, and have that community because they don't might not have it in other places. And
They
then we
do
learn.
remember these things when they're young, Christine. It does work. Like my sister had a kid reach out to her on Messenger the other day, a kid from grade one. She said two sentences to this kid and it changed him. And like
Yeah.
he's an adult now, he's a man, and he's reaching out to her. And she was like, "Oh, it's so sweet." I'm like, "You need to respond." Like this, oh my God, she was so overwhelmed and so like in shock, like that you can reach them that young, and my sister's so humble, like she would never even think that someone thinks she's so incredible. But it's the same thing. Like we can reach them young. They are open, their core values
They
develop
want
by
to,
the
they
age of
actually
3.
want to learn. I
They
think that kids
do.
these days, they want to learn. They want the information because they want things to be better. Because I think a lot of kids feel trapped like where they're at. And you know what? Like not all kids, some kids come from good homes, some have privilege, some don't,
Yeah.
right? And so like this little, they're looking for a leader, they're looking for a mentor, they're looking for like a safe place, a way out, right? And I
Christine,
feel like
like,
even with your
yeah,
program, right? Like the
yeah.
more tools and strategies we could get out, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's in like the schools, whether it's anywhere, right? They're looking. And the more we could put out
Yeah,
for those kids, like I really feel we could make a real impact and change generations to come with that and save
I
lives.
agree. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, sometimes I have a hard time communicating my feelings. Everything I did was hush hush underground and off records. And
Yeah.
it's a new thing for me to to come and speak lively about those things. But that's it. That's it. And there's so many kids that I work with that were so messed up that had that one teacher or that one program they went to or one
That showed
government
up.
that showed up that said a few things that just totally changed their lives. There's people who are multimillionaire motivational speakers now that had one teacher say, hey,
You can
like
do it.
what people say about you doesn't have to be your own reality. Tell yourself what you are. And now he's a multi-millionaire. Like
Yeah.
it's not about the money. It's just about the fact that, you can't listen to others. And my biggest thing I say to people is, look someone straight in the face, even kids, like look someone straight in the face and across and think to yourself, are they any further in life than I am? Are they way ahead of me? Have they done it? Have they made it whatever or in the similar or what you want for your own purpose? Because our purposes are all different, right? But like
Yeah.
kids, like the most surprising thing I noticed with kids, especially in schools, this shocked me is that I did this program with more of an entrepreneurship type to see if they understood, like if they want to be like a corporate leader, like the boss, but not the owner on the door. So they don't have the responsibility, the ownership when they leave, or they want
Yeah.
to be a business owner, or they want to be more like a worker. They just want to work for someone. They want to be employee. And I did like this number coding and testing. And then they went to the different colored spots and I couldn't believe they all knew, and they were in 10, grade 10 at the
Yeah.
school. Christine, they all knew exactly what they wanted.
That's
And
amazing.
the ones I thought were going to be business owners weren't. They were
Yeah.
like a worker, and the one I thought would be corporate, like he wanted to be a worker. Like this kid, where I thought this kid, oh my god, like just like really like kind of to himself, meekish, want to
Yeah.
be like a business owner. It's like wow, we don't really know what's going on in them, and they do. And
No.
it's to learn to have, like you said, these programs that extracts that from them and gives you a better understanding of what they need, and you're able to help them through it. And I'll tell you, because it's in my field, like it's the privileged ones that are hurting themselves. It's the privileged ones that are not surviving. It's the privileged ones that are the ones that are really spoon fed, where everything is just done for them. They're not panning out in this world. Like
Yeah.
they're
And I've
having a
seen that a
really
lot
hard time.
too. And it's
Yeah,
because they, how did I explain this to somebody the other day? They have all these privileges and they've never learned the skills to be resilient and
yeah,
resourceful, right? So when
yeah,
they meet challenges and obstacles, like which we all do, like this is life, right? Like you're either coming to a problem, coming out of one, or heading to one, right? Like isn't about
yeah,
inevitable is going to happen. So they just don't have those skills, right? And then we
yeah.
look at kids that don't have those privileges. They had to grow up early. They had to get that tougher skin to get through to survive, right?
That's right.
And I was just sharing with a group that we just finished up yesterday, just about
Oh,
what are
that's
the
nice.
tools and other kids. And I was like, hurt people, right?
That's what
And
I write about. Yeah, girl,
yeah, hurt people.
exactly. See,
And
you're
like, it's
doing them,
not
Grace.
your
Yeah,
fault that somebody hurt you, but it's
yeah,
your responsibility to deal with your emotions, right? Because
that's right.
sometimes things hurt. So then we're going to learn how to deal with our emotions, right? Like, okay, you're upset. Well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
What they're saying about you is not the truth. That's a lie
What
because
action
people
are you
hurt.
going to take to get your results? It's all action. It's action. Make a decision. Action.
Yeah,
Right? Good for you. I love that. I
it's
love that.
choices. Like we choose our emotions, right?
Yeah,
Like nobody could offend you without your permission, right? Like
that's
what we
right.
hold between our ears. Like we could
Yeah,
hear it, we could find value, discard what the lies
yeah.
are about us, right?
Bring
Like
them together at the end though with the peers, like that really helps solidify everything you're teaching, because now it's not like authority teaching, it's like face to face, kid to kid. And then they go, okay, how do we take that information to implement it? How do we put that in our own lives, and are able to work it out between how their minds work, right? Because there's so impressionable when they're young and they get so many emotions and
oh, they don't know how
they
to
get
deal with their
bubble-headed,
emotions.
right?
So
Yeah,
actually, one of our principles is emotional intelligence. I designed a game on how to talk about our
nice.
emotions, and we do. It's kind
Like
of like charades. Like we work through it, and then we talk about it, and then we have a
that.
discussion about them, right? Because we're talking about real life situations, whether it's bullying, whether it's mental health, whatever it is, like unprivileged homes, whatever it is. We talk about it. We go through it. We have kids share about it, how they feel, And then we actually go through and talk about the responsibility around it. Like, whose fault is it? Whose responsibility is it? Let's empower them that that's not your stuff, right? You're not
Yeah.
responsible for somebody else's emotions. That's
Oh,
their
that's
stuff that they
incredible.
deal with, right?
That's
Let's take the
incredible.
power back, make you feel more strong and confident to build that self-esteem up, to know that's not my shit. You give that back to them, take it off your burden backpack, throw it away so you could thrive and grow onto your own journey, right? And I think it's really
Wow,
important.
what a beautiful message. And to be honest with you, Christine, that's a beautiful message to leave wrapping up there. I don't even think I could even formulate all of that in my mind. Like I love how you're able to speak to the world and just be real. And I feel bad for swearing a couple times, so I'll probably have to put the
I
kid
did too.
screening
I would have.
on here. But you know what? It's more for the parent to listen and learn, and maybe to get the kids into some of these programs. If you wouldn't mind, before just wrapping up, just give quickly giving basically the world, like where they could contact your society. Maybe some people in your area would be interested.
Yeah, for sure. Well, like I said, my name is Christine Fair. I'm the executive director of the Mental Wellness Society, and we incorporate with the Inspire Build Grow Academy. If you're interested in our leaders in training program or any of our programs, you could contact directly the society at christine@mwms.ca. And that would be a great, or
Yeah, I was
check out the
wondering when I
website.
first got your email what that was. I was like, what is that little, what does that
Yeah.
mean? But no, it all makes sense. Of course, when I was just drawn to you, so it's different when you actually like, go and research and really dig up what you're doing over the years. So now I really understand why I'm following you. And thank you so much for being a guest on here. You're just nothing but an inspiration to us all, and you even make me a
Thank
little
you
bit
so much. I'm
emotional.
honored. It was an honor
Yeah.
to be on here and very
You
humbling.
keep
And
going, and hopefully in the future maybe we'll collaborate or something, or
yeah, that'd be
anything you need
wonderful.
ever. But it's so nice to see you live and connect with you, and I wish you and your family a lovely day.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Have an amazing weekend.
Take
Thank you so
care.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye.